हे गाइस वेलकम बैक। तो आज का पॉडकास्ट काफी इंटरेस्टिंग होगा जहां पर साथ में मेरे हैं आनंद जो करेंटली जंगल में कहीं घूम रहे हैं टू फाइंड इंटरनेट एंड -5 डिग्रीज में पेड़ों के बीच में। बट ये पॉडकास्ट काफी इंपॉर्टेंट था, सो वी आर डूइंग इट। जहां पर आज हमको ज्वाइन करने वाले हैं एप्टॉस के को फाउंडर और सीईओ एवरी, जो रिसेंटली यहाँ पर यूएस के सीएफटीसी के एडवाइजर भी बने सब कमिटी के, और साथ में एक बहुत बड़ा ह्यूज अनाउंसमेंट भी था जहां पर इंडिया का टेलीकॉम जायंट जियो की पार्टनरशिप हुई एप्टॉस के साथ। वेलकम एवरी, इट्स अ प्लेजर टू हैव यू ऑन द चैनल। हाउ यू बीन डूइंग?
Oh, it's been great, and it's good to see you guys again, even if you're freezing out in the cold. So incredible to be here with you both.
So, even last time, I think last time we had you on the channel was almost last year during the IBW. That time you were the CTO of Aptos, and then you transitioned into CEO. And I think you will soon complete 1 year as in your new role as a CEO. So, how has the journey been, and how has this last 1 year been for you?
It's been an amazing blast of learning, of fun, and also I think of strategic alignment, and that's been something that's really amazing. So after I took on the reins of CEO in the beginning of the year, we really started to dive deep into what's the purpose of blockchain. Why are we building this infrastructure? What are the core use cases? And that was something we started in January. And then I think we came up with a very strong thesis that the global trading engine is what Aptos is meant to do. It is meant to move assets around extremely efficiently, quickly, provide an amazing environment for trading assets. And as we start to tokenize these assets on chain, whether it's going to be stablecoins or going to be more financial instruments like BlackRock's, Biddle Fund, or Apollo, or Franklin Templeton's other funds, these are going to assets I think that are really going to take off once they get more distribution through decentralized infrastructure. They also get more access because the products are now available globally, not just on a regional basis. And those assets can be listed more quickly and more accessible. And so, this $50 billion a year crypto market that is primarily happening in centralized exchanges today will eventually move on chain. And it's very clear that Aptos is the leader in making that happen.
So Avery, I have like a lot of questions, especially because you joined as an advisor for US Digital Asset Market Subcommittee, and also the recent partnership with telephone giant Jio. But you talked about global trading engine. So if you can explain to the viewers in a layman's term, like what it is.
Absolutely. So, today a lot of people might trade on something like Robinhood. They open up the app, they buy some stocks. And I think what people probably don't know for the most part is those orders are then routed through someone like a Citadel. And Citadel might handle those order flow themselves, or they might pass it off to an exchange. And they probably are compensated back as for the order flow themselves. So you're not actually usually trading with the exchange, which is actually very interesting to most people who work on the retail side and kind of use a brokerage like Robinhood. But on the crypto market, it's actually not dissimilar, right? So you have these crypto exchanges where you submit orders and trades, and then those trades are kind of processed by the exchanges. But as you saw the events of kind of October 10th, we didn't know what happened. We didn't know how liquidity was pulled, how ADLs, auto deleveraging happened. And so I think the world is really ripe for a time where all those things are going to be made transparent to the rules of open source software. You'll know exactly how and why ADLs happen. You know exactly how liquidity has been pulled, who pulled liquidity, where the markets are. Also, like, all this information is transparent. There's no need to argue about custody of assets, where your assets get freezed inside central exchanges for no one knows why. And there's a committee that you don't know when they're going to convene and kind of resolve your case. Decentralized infrastructure makes this all go away. You have a situation where the code is trusted. Developers are people that are well-known builders in the community. All the rules are available. You have the power of Move as being the kind of platform for trading, and the Aptos VM is the trading VM to support trading at very high speeds. And I think this is a big groundbreaking change for the way you think about the assets today. As we tokenize all the assets in the world, all these assets, including the traditional assets we think about on London Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, will eventually make their way to crypto exchange, decentralized exchanges like what we're building on Aptos. And that will become the future of all the on-chain finance in the world.
Great. A question I had is that Aptos recently surpassed the Ethereum stablecoin supply inflows.
No.
So what strategies are you implementing to sustain the growth and on-chain liquidity?
So there's a couple of things that I think make sense for why Aptos is the choice for stablecoin issuers and users. The first of all, I think, just knowing our background and history, we worked on the Libra and Diem project, which at its core at Facebook was this mission to make billions of people have access to 24/7 payments around the world, including the likes of MasterCard, Visa, Uber, Lyft, and many more. I think
Right.
that just, again, that's the starting point, right? So we already had the DNA in us. We already built the technology for it. And I think with Aptos, we've only improved that technology far, far beyond. You can transfer USDT on Aptos with under a hundredth of a cent, basically free almost. You can also
Mhm.
have that transaction complete in about half a second or less, which is incredible. And so every time I talk to people, they're like, "Oh yeah, I use Aptos to transfer USDC, USDT on centralized exchanges. It's my coin of choice." Or like, "Oh, yeah, I send this, I send my stables using Aptos because the remittance side, I really, it's just easy to use. It's quick. It's nearly free." And I think those are the things that we just hear all the time about why stables move better on Aptos and why money is just meant to move on a chain that's extremely efficient, scalable, more than what
Mm.
Visa Mastercard can handle, and ultimately just accessible worldwide.
So, Avery, recently you've been involved in shaping the US asset regulatory policy, and recently you were appointed as an advisor to CFTC's Digital Asset Market Subcommittee. So, can you please tell us more about this role and how was your experience when you were there giving a testimony or statement?
Yeah, it's been a really great experience to really interface with different factions of the U.S. government and regulators as crypto is taken in the forefront of the market in the U.S. Right, the new administration has been very pro crypto. They've made no hiding of that fact, and we've seen the advent and passing of numerous initiatives, including the Stable Act, the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, in Congress and making their way throughout both houses and committees. I was very fortunate to testify in favor of the Clarity Act in front of the House Agricultural Committee back in July. That was a lot of fun alongside a couple of our other industry peers. Really just explaining why market structure is important, how it helps provide the guardrails and also the protections for consumers, but also the innovation, which is most prevalent and necessary for places like America to lead in the world. And so that's been a really big change, I think, from the previous administration. And we've been very excited to take a lot of initiative in this space. And I was also very pleased to have the CFTC invite me to join the Digital Asset Subcommittee for the GMAC. It's been an exciting journey so far. We've been exploring a bunch of different initiatives in NFTs, in DeFi, even in other areas of market structure that are kind of for the future. So I think that the fact that regulation is coming in and that policy is being shaped is extremely important. We want to be a big part of that. We have a lot of thoughts and ideas as being a builder in the space. But that regulation leads to capital markets becoming very important within the crypto space as well. And we've seen so many IPOs happening around crypto companies, and also the rise of digital asset treasuries as another connection between capital markets and crypto products. So I think this is just a very positive direction for us to see regulation, followed by capital markets involvement, followed by, I think, more adoption of crypto for not only kind of enterprise products, but even some of the largest corporations in the world that are coming to the space, like a Geo.
Right. Talking about
So,
Geo, I think a lot of people around the world probably don't know like the extent of this partnership, like how big is this, like to be partnering with Geo in India. So like it just puts Aptos in front of 500 million customers of Geo right away. So can you share more about it?
We've been very fortunate to meet the Geo team probably a couple, I think, Decembers ago, actually. And they came to us and they shared some very interesting problems they had. Like, they have 500 million plus customers. There are very, very few entities on the planet that have that kind of user base and distribution power. And they also have a requirement that these customers are extremely cost sensitive. They don't want to pay tremendous amounts of fees. They are used to really good Web 2 kind of experiences, be having very high quality internet in different parts of the world. And they said, like, they need to scale. And so this is some area that Aptos is going to shine the best at: scale, cost, as well as kind of the enterprise grade security and reliability that they expect
Mhm.
from a high quality internet product and entrepreneurs. So we met them, we talked with them. They have very advanced ideas when it comes to crypto involvement within their projects. They're looking for how do we add fairness and transparency and connect our suite of products, which, as you know, is extremely extensive, from the hot
Yeah.
start payment products to the finance side to the oil side to to every kind of area you can imagine. It's impossible to describe to Westerners how big Geo is, really, because it's like Disney meets Walmart
yeah,
means like it just goes on and
Yeah.
on. Bank of America like means
yeah.
all this other stuff. It's really hard to describe the impact that they have within Asia, and we've been very fortunate to part with them on GeoCoin, which is the first foray for them into the space of crypto, where, well, it's a loyalty product that is paid out through the Geo browser and activity in the Geo browser, and then kind of used as a platform to access many different products in the future. So very excited about that partnership. They're a great team to work with, and we're very excited about the distribution power that Geo will bring to all of crypto.
I remember having this conversation last time we spoke, and I was asking you, like, are you in talks with the Ambanis and Adanis of India, and is there something big? And you were very hush hush on it. So now we can see. But I would like to ask you again: are there more partnerships that we can see on the way, bigger than this one?
Well, it's hard to top a partnership that's got 500 million people, but I would just say that there are definitely a lot of other parties that are looking for tremendous amounts of scale. I mean, like I said, we see the advent of things like Arc from Circle and Tempo from Stripe as like good factors for the space. It shows that a lot of these corporations are very interested in crypto, and not everyone's going to build their own chain, right? So that's just reality. It's very expensive. It's a big endeavor. Some people just don't have in their DNA to do those kind of things. There's a lot of risk associated with taking on a big project like that, especially the one that might take years to develop and mature over time with a large team. So we've been pretty involved in different conversations with some of the largest companies in the world around bringing crypto to their products, their markets. A lot of people are interested in stables. One of the partners we have is Lotte, who is the largest retailer in South Korea. They've recently onboarded more than 5 million vouchers to over 1.3 million customers in their retail stores. And they're looking to expand that business with stablecoins and more in the future. So, just a flavor of some of the big players that we work with. Jio, Lotte, NBC Universal, who we're working with on a Watchy app. A lot of these large corporations are seeing the benefits when it comes to the ability to pay and receive payments across a worldwide audience, transact at speeds that are faster than any traditional rails today, and ultimately save money. That's the bottom line. When BlackRock and all issue these funds, they actually save a lot of the management fees, and the management of these assets can just trust the ledger directly.
So Avery, there's a lot of noise in the Web3 right now. Meme coins are pumping, people are trading meme coins, there's AI hype cycles, then there's a big regulatory shift. So what's the real sign you are seeing globally, and what does it mean for the markets like India?
I think the biggest sign I see in the market is the focus now on revenue. And I do want to talk about this a bit deeper. So, some people focus on chain revenue, which I think is actually the wrong thing, the wrong metric to think about. It's kind of like thinking about like which country do I want to like launch a business in, and which one's got the best tax rate to take all my profits away, and I want to build there. Like that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Builders want to capture app revenue, right? And to do that, they have to work on infrastructure that is not going to be substantially expensive for them, that can work at scale, and that can be enterprise grade and reliable. I think that's the way we should think about things, and that's the kind of future of our industry, is to think about the economies being built on networks. And so today, we're very happy to see, even without all the revenue being reported, I think we're like number 8 on DeFi Llama by 30-day average, the last like 30 days in terms of the app revenue. And that's something we're extremely proud about. We have companies like KGen who are, I think, earning already more than $60 million a year annual run rate and on target for $100 million. We have companies like Stan, who just recently announced a raise of $10 million and earning tremendous amounts of revenue, with the likes of Sony putting in a large check. I think these are kind of businesses that I get very excited about having to, coming and building on Aptos, and then leveraging the fact that our rails are extremely cost effective, that we can also support any scale of traffic they want to bring to us. And again, most of this is about how they trade assets, how they have payments, how they manage loyalty points or tokens. All these things are going to be done extremely efficiently on blockchain rails, and especially on top of the Aptos blockchain.
That's the question I had is that like everybody is talking about building the next billion users space, right? I think Aptos is taking the right path when it comes to bringing people like partnering in countries like India and focusing on countries like India. So, but what are the biggest bottlenecks that you actually see in the industry?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's okay to frame the question as like, how do we find the next billion users? I think that's a great way. But I think the way we like to think about it is like, what are the products and the value creation that will actually onboard those users? Right. And so again, we talk about Geo, like the Geo coin is a kind of way to have loyalty that spans across a product suite, is a really great use case. Stablecoins as payments is a great use case. But I think trading, of course, is a great use case to not maybe onboard tons of users, but onboard a subset of users that's going to be revenue generating businesses that generate profit and value to people. And it doesn't need to be a lot of users. I think what we're trying to do is create a lot of value on chain, and that generally comes with the transactions, with being able to do things that just can't be done in Web2. A good example is if you wanted to pay a large population, a very small amounts of capital rewards for efforts they partake in. So for instance, if you're watching ads on Geo browser and you've got hundreds of millions of people doing that, and you want to pay them, say, a cent or two, that's impossible to solve with Web2 Rails. And so when we think about these kind of problems and how to solve them, I think, and what crypto can bring to the table, especially the best infrastructure in the world, I think that's where we get really excited about it. And I think that's where those use cases become, very obvious when the capabilities are around.
One question I have for you, Avery, is since the beginning, like first time, even when we spoke, you were always very bullish on India. Even on on Aptos, there are a lot of builders who are building products and their projects on Aptos. So when we look at different regions, now we have US, we have the Middle East, we have different parts of Asia, and everyone is moving at a different speed when it comes to regulation. And so, from what I want to ask is, from your vantage point, which region is actually shaping the next phase of Web3, and what role does India play in that race?
Interesting question. I'd say from a regulation standpoint, obviously the U.S. With the new administration, I think has been very crypto forward, and that's been like very helpful not just for the U.S. but across the world.
Yeah.
We see, actually a lot of development in India. I don't know if it's related to the U.S. honestly, but the pickup is amazing. We got more than 1,000 developers in India from the Aptos side, or more than 4,500 in total. But that's already a very large chunk of that already. And we see, like, again, Jio coming in like as the largest, if not the largest company within India, is a massive sign for the whole country, especially given its government ties, right? I struggle actually to think about other parts of the world where you have such a large kind of the largest companies in that region kind of leaning hard into crypto. It's not easy to think about that. And again, as I mentioned, a couple of businesses that we're excited about. You have KGen, you have Stan, you have Santa Browser, all kind of revenue generating, profitable companies that are all based in India. I mean, it's hard to get more bullish on India when I see kind of the quality of builders and entrepreneurs that are coming out of the region. And we've partnered closely with Hash Emergent to help fund some of these builders. I think there are more than $5 million of funding available for entrepreneurs in the region, and that money is very effectively used with Indian entrepreneurs who are amazing at kind of doing a lot with very little. We also see, like, there are thoughts around like the rupee that are launching. India's exploring cross-border CBDC pilots. Everything is kind of taking off there, and I think also looking at IBW year after year, you see the excitement kind of building. I'll be excited to see you guys, of course, there this year, and I expect to be much more exciting even than last year.
One question I had is that India is a very hard market to crack, especially for like any blockchain coming from outside of India. It's really hard to crack, and many have tried it, but I think Aptos is on a right path because you've been bullish on India for a very long time, and been consistent. So my question is, like, it is a low margin and high scale market. So what early results or signals you have seen in India that you are so bullish on India?
I love that it's a high scale, low cost market. That is what we're looking for, right? That's what Aptos Tech was built for. It's built to serve the broader population and not just the few who have access to kind of larger amounts of capital, right? And that's something that's worked well with all the companies that I kind of listed: KGen, Stan, Santa Browser, Jio. They've been able to onboard users at an amazingly fast clip without any issues, without any concerns around the fees. I think that's huge. We are also holding a lot of hackathons and winter schools with IIT Delhi, and that I think is a great way to tap into some of the incredible talent in the region. And we've seen, I was very fortunate to see like a lot of the projects that are early days and early scale, with Sri Lakshmi, who was here earlier. And I can tell you, like, the excitement and the developer talent that is coming into these projects and coming to the space is just amazing. I think India will definitely be one of the leaders when it comes to Web3 development, as well as kind of entrepreneurship in the coming years.
From your perspective, what is the Indian crypto community getting right that the rest of the world is sleeping on? And where do you still see gaps or opportunities?
I think there's a lot India is doing right. Like UPI is an amazing success, for example. I was just in India actually last week, visiting some of our partners. Not last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, and I was amazed by the kind of infrastructure also for like delivery services. Right, you can like literally hire somebody to go and buy something for you and have it delivered in like 10 minutes at a cost that might be like less than a quarter, which is just like mind-boggling to anybody who lives anywhere else in the world, where like that might cost you $20 or more, and then they'll do it for you for free. Like there's all kinds of crazy things like that, but that kind of really helps underscore the need for, I think, crypto and crypto payments in particular, that those payments could be just made much more effective and efficient. And the thing that's exciting for us is that we work closely with Pact protocol, which is a protocol that issues small loans, 10 to 50K, to large numbers of quantities of people. They've issued, I think, over $1 billion worth of loans today. And those loans can go a long way within a region like India and help provide transportation, vehicles, service for a lot of these other, kind of different types of services that are available that aren't even available in the West. So I think crypto is going to really enable a lot of new things there. And I like the experimentation happening. I mean, just as an example, I was talking to Parth from Stan the other day, and he's like thinking about the world of like where these social and creator products meet prediction markets. And where else is that happening? I think that's happening with creative minds like that, and being able to kind of find the developers who are already local in the region, already building prediction markets, pair them with the product he's building, and then kind of come up with a net new experience that would never be possible in Web2, because you just can't build a prediction market that's going to be effective and efficient and accessible to millions of people so easily, right? So that's just an incredible product offering that is made possible through the entrepreneurship, the ideas coming from the region, as well as the incredible technology that we're providing alongside that.
So Avery, you talked about the global trading engine. So why Aptos is uniquely positioned to build this? What makes your approach different from other L1s that are claiming high performance or scale?
I think a lot of people like to focus on narrative in crypto, and that's maybe done well for the last 5-6 years or whatever. But I think that the broader crypto market is coming to like a head now, where people are starting to really look at use cases. And when use cases are in the picture, that's where a lot of the narrative kind of fades away, and you kind of look beneath the hood of the car and see what's really underneath there. What kind of engine do you have? What's powering this entire platform? And this is an area that we pride ourselves as builders. We kind of built the Move language from within Meta. We also built the DM blockchain from within Meta. These products are purpose-built for a reason. They're built to support massive scale, very, very low latency, and of course a fee structure that scales to the world. We're very proud of the innovations we developed within the Aptos blockchain, including Block STM. We have this Aptos protocol to pipeline information. And as you see, and of course the Move language, and we see like many blockchains adopting a lot of our technology, and that's kind of very much a validation of what we're doing is important. And we continue to lead the industry when it comes to consensus papers and research, cryptography, and many other subjects. So I think our advantage really is on the tech side. We've got more than 20 PhDs on the team. We consistently think about not just the problems in the next month, but the problems in the next 3 years. And especially in the global trading space, we're starting to develop new technology that we're very proud about when it comes to fairness and decentralization. Let me give you an example of that. So today's blockchains, when you submit transactions and trades on them, all the transactions are publicly accessible, which means the order flow, might go through MEV attacks like Jito or like flash bots, where these transactions are being front run or are going to be sandwich attacked. And that's not I think a great outcome for any customer, no matter how anyone tries to spin it. Like someone kind of profiting off your order flow is something I'm sure nobody's excited about. And so that's where, if you build the right technology, though, we have something called the encrypted transactions, where if you submit transaction, and I submit transaction, we're not going to be able to see the results of those transactions until the point at which they're sequenced, and it's too late to really act on them at that point. Or we have mechanisms like the multi-leader protocol that we're working on, so that no one can censor transactions. Even if they don't know what the transactions are, they still can't be censored. So these kind of technical innovations and next gen technologies have real practical use cases when it comes to providing a trading environment that is so much better than existing trading environments that we just are used to today. We're used to the fact that we're front run. We're used to the fact that order flow is sold, and it doesn't need to be that way. You can build the technology and products that really provide a fair and decentralized environment for everyone across the world to have equal access. and equal rights.
So there are so many narratives right now. There's AI agents, Dpins, SocialFi, and consumer apps. Which narratives do you think will survive this cycle, and which one will fade away?
Our focus is on really a small number of things. And I think we've learned from our lessons of not trying to do everything. That's not a good
Right.
strategy for success, especially not today's environment. I would say we really are focused on being the global trading engine where assets move, and trading infrastructure is going to be the top use case for blockchains. I think that's a core thesis for us. We're built best for that. Our strategic advantages in the technology we build for building the global trading engine. But the thing that is interesting is, as a result of building a global trading engine that's very fast and performant, our block times are around 60 milliseconds, more than 7 times faster than Solana. The advantage of building something like this is that it has derivative effects. For instance, let's take Dpin. Dpin, if you build a real decentralized physical infrastructure service, it's about providing access to services or to resources to other parties that want to pay for them. It's a giant payments network, right?
Right.
So and you might have a lot of free Wi-Fi in your house that you're just not using the bandwidth for. And I walk by and I might want to use some of that bandwidth, right? And so we find a way to negotiate a payment for that through a protocol, and then ideally I'm paying by a very small granularity by the minute or something like that. And so you can think of these as just really large payment networks that are governed by different types of economics. Even a blockchain itself is also a giant payments network. It's just a transfer of value, right? You have staking, you have stakers, you have people that delegate stake, you have emissions for the stakes. The stakes are then passed back to different validators as well as other parties. You're just sending value around. And by building a global trading engine, we provide a very efficient structure for Dpin. And one of the projects I'm particularly excited about in the Dpin space is something called Shelby. Shelby is the kind of first hot decentralized storage that we're building in collaboration with Jump Crypto, who is one of the largest traders in the world, kind of built a lot of projects alongside Solana with Fire Dancer, Wormhole, Pith, and others. And now working with Aptos on one of the most exciting projects in all of crypto today, which is how do you provide a real-time decentralized infrastructure that can serve data extremely fast and performance? Because when you start to look at the use cases, we saw there's so many different cases where you want to store data in a decentralized fashion that you own, that I own, that we have full access to and control, and also can program to be adding different kind of features like payments for data markets and things like that. And it became very clear that this is a product that's just missing from the stack across not just any blockchain, all blockchains completely. So the idea is that Shelby is really going to take on how do we build out a decentralized cloud infrastructure that scales to pretty much every enterprise in the world, that's going to provide the services of what AWS and others provide as kind of this hot storage, but at a cheaper cost, and also much, much more resilient to failures. I don't know if you've been following recently, but there were failures in Azure kind of one week. There were failures in AWS the other week. I think yesterday or the day before, there's a Cloudflare issue.
Oh, the Cloudflare was crazy.
Exactly. All these issues with kind of centralized providers are mitigated when you have an infrastructure that doesn't depend on any one of them to a large degree. And that's where something like a Shelby really shines. And so we've been kind of getting free advertising for the last couple of months around why, every time this, something goes down, we're like, well, Shelby would never go down in that kind of situation, and it didn't go down, right? We have a DevNet out. It's working really well. And I think that is the first step in kind of how we build out, towards this data market and AI. And so AI is, this massive industry where several $1 trillion will be spent on hardware in the coming years. Now, where's the data that's going to power all that hardware going to be stored? People are thinking about that first order effect, all the compute, but the data that needs to be stored is going to be orders of magnitude even larger than that, right? Because it crunches data so fast and so rapidly, quickly. But this compute is all around the world. It's in neoclouds, it's in different data centers. You've got to move data quickly to those data centers. And that's where I think Shelby is going to be a great advantage for people to take data out of the cloud, move it to the neoclouds, do the compute, take those results, ship them across the world for inference, do the same thing, for many different companies and enterprises in the future. And that, I think, is going to be a massive industry where, again, we're focusing more on the revenue side. Shelby is going to generate tremendous amount of revenue for token holders.
So Avery, let's talk more about stablecoins. In US, we have seen a big shift. There was a time where there were a lot of uncertainty regarding the stablecoin, but now we have Genius Act.
Yeah.
And on the other side, if we look at India as well, in India, initially, even the central bank governors, the government, they were not so keen on stable coins. But that narrative is now changing. Very recently, even finance minister, she was spoke very positively about stable coins. So how do you see the future of stable coins? Because technology like moves really fast, but the current payment system that we have is so outdated from 1970s. So do you think stablecoin payment system is the next step or the upgradation that we have been waiting for?
That's a great question. So, and I think it depends on each region. So India's already got UPI, which is pretty freaking amazing, right? I
Right.
think that is, a bit pretty high bar to topple. I don't see that going away. Of course, I think UPI is going to be very successful, continue to be successful in India. Also, given its connectivity to the banks, but I think stablecoin will kind of augment those products and provide kind of different types of rails and access that the use cases maybe again for smaller granularity of payments, for kind of programmatic payments. I think that's where stablecoin will be extremely useful. That being said, you have kind of the stable coins, you have tokenized deposits, you have CBDCs, which are all kind of vying, competing to be kind of the same kind of product in some sense, or a lot of overlaps in that product space. I was just at a think tank in Hong Kong a couple of weeks ago as well, with a lot of central banks and other partners, kind of discuss the future of this industry. And I think it's going to be a lot of experimentation, first of all. Like, banks definitely like the idea of tokenized deposits. Not many governments are keen yet on CBDCs. There's a lot of experimentation. I think more than 30 pilots going on. But stablecoins have actually gotten the most traction so far yet in the process. And we're going to see a lot more stablecoins being launched in the US and across the world. So that being said, I expect for users and consumers that a lot of this won't matter to us. What's going to happen underneath the covers is that, the one of the most amazing things of crypto is that, we can exchange these products on a blockchain for very, very low fees and very transparently. And so you'll just think about, okay, I have this kind of digital US dollar. When I'm interacting on top of one network, it's going to be USDT. And then when I go into this product space, it might be their specific digital dollar. And then when I, go somewhere else, it's going to translate into maybe USDG or something like that. And that's fine, as long as it happens very cheaply, very efficiently under the covers. And I don't really care about the fees because they're so low and liquidity is really good. I do think that that's going to be kind of a very long kind of intermediate step until there's a small, like a consolidation across a smaller number of players. But ultimately, I think the regulation will lead the way. Like, our tokenized deposits going to kind of maintain the same regulatory friendly parameters that they have today, in which banks can borrow and lend with their not their coins, but their currency, the digital currency in a certain way that stablecoins don't have access to, for example, or those rules will change over time. So regulation will play a large part in the success of, I think, these kind of competing products.
Last time as well when we met, we asked this question, and you had quite good suggestions for our viewers. A lot of people are new in crypto as well. They're just stepping in. Some of them are builders, developers. I don't know where the market is going to go. It's going to be super bullish or bearish, but it just depends. What are the suggestions that you would give to our listeners who are just stepping in and building something in blockchain?
Ooh, there's two different users, I guess. So one of the builders, right? The builders, I would say for those folks, this is the time to really be creative, like really swing for the fences, really try to solve real problems. Don't focus on the hype cycle too much. I think it's really about the utility. And like I said, there have been many successful builders in our space that we've seen that are focusing utility and product and actually winning. That's something I'd love to see more of in the space. For the user side, I think to see the transformative effects of crypto, you got to feel it and touch it in your hand. We have this kind of thing called tap, which we've been talking about at Aptos Experience, where you can kind of just take your mobile phone and pay any merchant in the world, and you can see and feel the speed instantaneously. And you're just like, wow. A merchant that normally has to wait a couple of days or a day to kind of receive their payments has to maybe go through some disputes with the banks or whatever, and deal with a lot of the pain points of traditional finance. That stuff just all melts away. You got the instant payment. You got the payment in your hand, and you can do what you want with it. You can pay your vendors, you can pay your suppliers, and they can pay their suppliers, and you can see the money move extremely fast and rapidly. You can pay your employees on a much more frequent basis instead of just like once every 2 weeks, right? You could pay them on a daily basis, an hourly basis if you wanted to, right? So the future of crypto is going to be how the assets basically are all tokenized on chain, and now these assets are in yield, they're invested, they're reinvested using AI strategies, and then those assets then kind of make their way off chain today because so many things happen off chain through credit cards and other off ramping initiatives. But over time, the money will just start to become much more sticky within crypto. And then when we have that fully on chain economy of the full tokenization of fiat currency, of other currencies, you're going to really see and feel that difference to a much more acute level. Touch and feel. So play with crypto, try it on Aptos, send some money to each other. When you see how fast it is, you're like, wow, how is this even possible? It's just an amazing experience.
So Avery, give us one bold prediction. What's something about Web3 or the global digital economy you think people are completely underestimating going into 2025, 2026?
Underestimating.
Yeah, a bold prediction.
People are underestimating how fast enterprises will come in. I think that they'll come in extremely hot in the next coming years. The next 2 to 3 years, every enterprise will have a crypto strategy, and that is extremely bullish for this industry. That's it's going to come in many different shapes and forms. Lots of experimentation, maybe hundreds of chains launched. I don't know, but and hundreds of stables being launched as well, or maybe thousands of stables being launched.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a massive expansion in the future as kind of this flow of regulatory clarity, capital markets, and then ultimately comfort from the largest companies in the world to leverage crypto to their advantage. And it's going to happen quickly, I think.
Perfect. So usually whenever we do podcasts or we have someone on the channel, we always like to ask some fun question.
Let's do it.
So we also did this last time and we found out about your view of Bitcoin, where it might go, and the Indian food that you like. If I remember it correctly, palak paneer, right? You like that one?
I do.
And butter chicken.
I like butter chicken. But
Did we talk about it? Yeah.
I do like butter chicken, but it's not super authentically Indian, right? Just to be clear. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But actually, last trip I was in India, we went to this place. They had coastal food, and that was incredible. This shrimp curry, and some of the seafood dishes that were just knocked my socks off. The spices level was amazing. It wasn't spicy, but it wasn't hot spice. It was just extremely flavorful, if that makes sense. I guess they made the spices and ground in the day, and it's something you just can't get anywhere else in the world, I suspect.
Perfect. So this time I think when you come, you have to try some new food. We suggest something to get.
All right.
But you cannot eat spicy, right? Or you can handle spicy food?
I like spicy food. It doesn't like me as much. I can do it. There's a price to be paid, but yeah, I can do it. Yeah.
But you have to do it. You have to do it. There's no other option.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so the next question I have for you: if Aptos were a superhero, what would be its superpower? And who would be its arch nemesis in the blockchain world?
Superhero. Ooh. I guess Iron Man, right? I think we'd be Iron Man. I think we're very futuristic. We are very analytical. Our advantages are technology. I don't know if we have any arch enemies though. We like everybody out there. We have our focus points. I think that they're actually quite distinctive than most people's focus points. So, overall, I think everyone should try what they think is important. We think trading is important. We think decentralized cloud and AI is important. And we think growing the block space in a way that's going to support the world scale with namespace is important. That's our focus.
Every Aptos TPS or Mumbai local train? Which one would win in the peak hour?
I've seen the pictures of Mumbai local train and the throughput it puts out. I mean, I don't know if I want to compete with that. That's incredible.
So, Avery, what's the most unexpected or hilarious bug you have encountered while building Aptos, and how did the team fix it?
A blockchain is just so complex. I think one of the most complex problems that we dealt with recently was when we upgraded the coin standard to the fungible asset standard. So coin was just the first way we thought about developing tokens on our platform, and it was a little bit limited in terms of it didn't have things like allow listing and block listing features, kind of support for combinational token transfers and other things we wanted to have for kind of all kind of assets essentially on chain. But that upgrade process was extremely challenging because we had to transfer all the APT from coin to fungible asset standard, and that was a huge challenge. It wasn't just a challenge at the blockchain level and smart contracts platform level. what a change to the way indexing works. All the different exchanges had to integrate it. And doing this without taking the chain down was, I think, a monumental achievement that I think no one has ever tried before in the past. It took a year just to make that happen, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and long nights, and some crying probably behind the keyboard. So it was a massive endeavor, and I think just shows, I think, when you have amazing talent on the team and strong determination, you can really build anything. You can actually change the wheels in the Ferrari while it's driving at 290 miles an hour, which is incredible.
Besides Move language, it's a fantastic language, but did you learn any bad words in Hindi?
Let's see. Did I know any bad words in Hindi? No, people are too kind around me. I think I am around a lot of polite.
Okay, Aditya, we have to teach him some this time.
Yeah, maybe so. But I hang out with the best of the best people in India apparently. So they don't teach me bad words. They only say nice things.
Thank you so much for taking out time, Avery. It was a pleasure to have you on the channel. We look forward to meeting you at the IBW, and hopefully we all can go out, have some palak paneer, and have in-person discussion. Always a pleasure to have you. You have a nice day. Thank you so much.
So it's always my pleasure to be here, and I have to give special kudos to Anand, who is in sub-0 degree temperature outside in a parking lot to do a podcast. So huge props.
You have to do it. But it was amazing to see you, Avery.
Same
like
here.
Every time.
I look forward to seeing you under slightly warmer conditions.
Yes.
See you soon. So much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.